Hey guys, this is Greg. It's been a while, and in my last video I promised a new series which is coming up. I still intend to do that. There's just still a lot of things that keep popping into my mind regarding memories, and of course that series is going to be subjective and from my perspective and from my understanding of those things regarding as the decades went along. Wanted to talk about the COVID-19 problem. Okay. Number one, I've been talking with Matt, a lot lately regarding this, and we've been sharing some information, and he basically put out a video today that covered most of everything as far as the talking points and all of the things they're trying to push on us as far as the new normal and social distancing and such as that. The other day I had to go pick up a prescription, and I had to go inside the pharmacy so that I could get some NyQuil as well, and Benadryl. Allergies are killing me right now, and the pollen here is really bad in South Carolina. Man, it was humorous to me. I mean, I actually started laughing because of the way that they had this thing set up at CVS. The first thing that came to mind was the Seinfeld episode regarding the soup Nazi. I mean, you had to stand behind this orange tape, which they had marked off, and you stepped forward, you told what you was doing or whatever, and then you kind of moved to the side to another set of tape and received it and moved to the side and paid for it. It was it was almost like the ritual for the soup Nazi. So I had to laugh at that. This stuff is it's really out of control. I don't understand how people are accepting this. I spoke with a good friend of mine today, and he owns a music shop where you go to learn lessons for guitar or piano or even some voice lessons and things like that. And he said his business is completely decimated, and it's not because of the 6 foot thing, or you have to be 6 feet apart, or anything regarding being able to catch the virus, which is, to me, I don't understand how they keep saying that a virus can live on things. If that's the case, why don't we all have herpes and AIDS and MERS and SARS and everything else? If viruses can live on a doorknob. No, viruses don't work that way. Bacterial infections can, but it's not. You have to breathe in a particulate blood or some type of fluid, and I'm no epidemiologist or but I do have some common sense, and I know what I've been told all my life, how viruses work. There's nothing you can do about it. It has to run its course, But I was talking with my friend today, and he said that the reason that he had 150 students coming in to his place of business per week, and now he's down to 30 and having to do it online. And it's not because people are afraid to catch something. It's because they have lost their jobs too. So as someone who was 25 years old, and this is the people I feel for, it's the 25-year-olds, the young people, even the older people. It's just the people that, as from personal experience, as a 25-year-old man, I had a new wife, I had a new child, and I know the amount of stress that comes just with that alone. Taking care of the wife and the child, working, having to keep up with everything, the bills. And at that time, my wife was younger than 25, so her car insurance, her being on my car insurance, was probably almost double what mine was. And it's things like that, and then you have your property taxes and whatnot. You have to keep up with everything. And right now, there are people really, really suffering and being hit hard by this. And I don't understand how people are willing to accept that the solution is worse than the actual problem. And with the doctor, let's just call him Dr. Faust, who made his deal with the devil, he is saying that by the time this is over with, it's going to become a seasonal thing, and that everybody in America will wind up infected. Well, if that's the case, then just let it run its course. Open all businesses back up. I'm having a real problem with the fact that people are willing to, accept this. Where's the pushback? Personally, here our governor has closed all state parks. He's closed all of the lakes, any public docks that lead to any lakes or any waterway, any public waterway. So, me personally, during this time, but however, he says, yet, please feel free to go outside and recreate. Well, all the parks are closed, so how can you do that? Well, what do you want to walk around the house a few times, or, to exercise, or you want us to play horseshoes or badminton or what, Instead, I see, like on the nightly news, I see these stupid little Facebook videos where some family has made up this little routine song, and they do their little dance, and they end on that high note. Oh, that is so perfect. That's, wow. People are so creative during this time. Yeah, right, okay. Why don't you show the sad stuff, the bad stuff, Show that family that's struggling. It's amazing to me. So I've been paying attention to our local news, and I recorded a phone conversation I had with one of the anchors at my local CBS affiliate. And I explained to her, actually I spoke with her yesterday. Now today is April 10th, and right now I'm recording this. This is about, it's 11:16, 11:17, something like that. And I did speak with someone yesterday, and I'm not sure if it was her or not. And evidently someone else is contacting her as well. So right now it's either 3,265 or 3,065 cases in South Carolina as far as since this started. However, there are two of the anchors that refuse to say that as of this beginning there are 3,000 something. No, they say there are 3,000 something cases in South Carolina, which is not accurate. And then they say, well, there's been 74 deaths. There have been 74 deaths. Okay, that's accurate. Now, if you divide 74 by the 3,000, whatever, you come up to about 2%, a little less. So a little less than, let's just say 2 people out of every 100 that get it die. And anyway, I spoke with, her name is Diane Lee. I spoke with her, and I'm going to play the recording here shortly. And I explained to her that this is not accurate, the way they're reporting it. They're scaring the crap out of people. The way that they are reporting it, it seems like the number is just escalating. However, if this stuff was as contagious as it's supposed to be, then this thing would be exponential. You know, the seasonal flu has a number of 1 to 2. In other words, that one person can infect 1 or 2 people. And then those 2 people can infect 1 or 2 people. So let's just say 2. Okay, it's 2, then it's 4, then it's 16, then it's 256, then it's 65,000, and so on and so on, and then you end up with 4 million within about 6 steps. So the numbers that they're reporting do not match the way or the extreme way that they're presenting this to be as so contagious that we have to do these measures. And the people in New England, you know, up that way, why in the world are they not out there saying, give it to me? You know, Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. And one of the smartest things I've seen on TV was they actually put on the news, on national news, this one guy they interviewed, and he said that some people, you know, you have to make choices. Sometimes people make the wrong choice. However, that is what freedom is. And to be locked in your house and told you can't go out, or told you can't congregate more than 6 feet apart, to close churches, to close all of the restaurants, you know, everything, to put it to where millions of people have lost their jobs and may not ever get them back, to where hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of small businesses will close and never recover. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, you know, this new normal and social distancing, this and this and this, all these little terms that they keep throwing out there, and believe me, I counted. Within 1 hour, the words new normal were said 28 times. In between the commercials, you've got somebody telling this and that and this and that, and then you have the commercials themselves saying this and social distancing, and I am so sick of hearing this, we're all in this together crap. We're not all in this together. It's only the celebrities that are coming on TV in these little, nice little, beautiful little commercials, you know. We're all in this together. Bullshit. You're sitting in your mansion, and this other family over here is struggling. They don't know what they're going to do. They're scared to death. The news is scaring them with these crazy numbers that are not accurate whatsoever. So, you know, folks, this is not what is being presented. I keep seeing these videos of people filming trains that have tanks and Humvees and everything else on them. You know, they don't even have to unload those things. All they have to do is just keep running trains through towns and let people film them. And all of a sudden you've got people freaking out thinking, oh my God, it's martial law. This must be extremely worse than what we thought. It's just not. It can't be. I don't understand this. Because if this was this bad, the numbers would be exponential. I mean, I put a video out, maybe 2 years ago regarding the exponential function, and it's still up on this channel. So if you want to go look for it, watch it and let that guy explains the exponential function better than anyone I've ever heard in my life. That's why I put him up. Okay, well, I've said I've said my piece. I've been helping Matt with, I've been watching the news and catching little things, and I'll tell him about them, and he adds them in whenever he feels like he's got enough to put in information in there. So I promised you that I would play this little recording of my speaking with the anchor at the local CBS News affiliate. So I'm going to duck out, and I'm going to let you listen to that as of now. Everybody take care. Be good to one another. And don't be afraid to go out and help someone, Look, they can't enforce this thing. It's not legal, okay? And I don't understand why someone riding in their car can actually spread it to someone else anyway. It just amazes me that people are willing to accept this. I honestly did not believe that this country was that far gone, that this many people would accept this and would not have pushed back by now. I mean, and I don't think that this is actually the main play. I honestly think that this will probably ease up some, but this coming winter is when it's going to get rough. I'm looking at the 1918 Spanish flu model, and I think wave 2 will come fall and winter, and then it will be really bad. I don't know, is it 5G? I don't know. But I know that this thing is not as bad as what's being made out to be. Anybody with common sense can see that. And yes, I do know people that personally know someone that has it. There is an illness. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying there's not an illness. It seems like it's something that's causing pneumonia. And they're even counting people that if they have died from God knows whatever, maybe a heart attack, yet if they test positive for COVID-19, then they count that number in there too with the deaths. So even the death number is not exactly accurate. I heard tell of some man that fell down some steps and it killed him, and he was an elderly gentleman, and yet he tested positive, so therefore the COVID-19 must have made him fall down the steps, and it killed him. And he got counted among that. So, okay, instead of continuing to run on and on and on, bitching, I'm going to just go ahead and add in the conversation. It's about 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes long. And I just watched the 11 o'clock news, and the anchor that I spoke with actually said that DHEC, which is our South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control, is releasing the numbers of the positive tests, and she said as of March 6th, which was day one when the first case was reported, there have been now 3,065. So the same anchor that I just talked to at 10 o'clock was on at 11 o'clock, and she did make the distinction between the fact that there are not 3,000 cases walking around, or 3,000 cases at this time in hospitals. So it's maybe it's a minor victory, but at least I called. Actually, I called 3 times, but the first guy I talked with, he didn't have a clue what in the world I was even talking about. And I called yesterday or last night, and I spoke with someone that was a lady, and I'm not sure if it was Diane or not. She didn't say at that time. However, as you'll hear in the recording, she actually says this is Diane, and so I asked, was this Diane Lee, the anchor? And she said yes. So, hey, if you have access, everybody's pretty much on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and if your local news is doing the same thing that mine's doing, and presenting this as if it is just out of control and there are this many cases at this time, put the number up, the contact info to the newsroom, and have everybody call and tell them, look, that's not accurate. And maybe they'll change this stuff. At least I got one time it was changed. Actually 2, because she did say today at 5 o'clock since day 1. However, she kind of refined that a little more for the 11 o'clock edition. And, and hey, it never hurts to try. So, it may be a waste. Some people may think it's a waste of time. However, not everyone has the same common sense that we do. And she did say that we just assume that, for brevity's sake and whatnot, we assume that everybody understood this. Well, that's not the way that it comes across, and that's not the way that they're translating it and presenting it. So once they, once Diane said that since March 6th there have been 3,000. In other words, that way we get a better understanding that there's only, right now as of today, they were presented with 241 new cases. And then if you backlog, it says it takes about 2 weeks to recover from. So, you can cut that number down. They're just not subtracting it. And once again, I found myself running on and on. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let, splice in the recording and let you hear it for yourself. All right, guys, take care. Be good to everyone, and take care of yourselves. And don't be afraid to go out and help someone. If you're out and your neighbor may need something, and you can get it for them while you're there, because they've closed everything down, and now you can only, in South Carolina, they can only have 5 people per 1,000 square feet in the store, and the only thing open right now is Walmart. Now, they've closed down all the clothing stores and the retail stores and everything. However, yet at Walmart, who is tied in with FEMA and Homeland Security, you can still buy your clothes, your shoes, any other thing. And of course, Lowe's and Home Depot are open. But pretty much that and the convenience stores is all that is open here. Once again, be good. Don't be afraid to help somebody. And if you're wealthy enough and you have a friend that has lost their business or whatnot, send them a PayPal donation if you can help it. If you can afford to do something for somebody, and you have a good friend that that might need it, even if it's to just help pay some of their employees that have lost their jobs, whatever you can afford, send a PayPal donation to them, to try to help out. If you know a struggling young family, find out what type of formula they use, or get them, if you can pick up some diapers for them, do that. It's the celebrities say that we're in this together, which That's horse shit. But you and I and everyone that's like-minded, as well as somewhat like myself, we can be in this together. We can help each other or help other people, even though they're not quite awake as we are. Okay, guys, gonna splice in the thing now. So take care, be safe, and you know, don't be afraid. Take care, guys.
7 News, Diane speaking.
Diane, is this
Yes.
Diane Lee?
Yes.
Um, Diane, I watched the 5 o'clock episode today.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and I noticed that you, um, I spoke with someone yesterday, and it may have even been you. I'm not sure who I spoke with. Um, my name's Greg, and I was talking to someone yesterday about the coronavirus, the way that it's being presented as far as the number of cases.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
yes. Okay. And you had emailed me. Did you ever email me back when I emailed you, Jeff?
I'm not sure if I received an email. If I did, I
Okay,
wasn't
hold on.
aware that I got it.
Jeff, and your last name was with a B, right?
It was Greg.
Oh, it's Greg. I'm sorry, Greg. You did email me, right?
No, I spoke with someone on the telephone.
Oh, someone had emailed me too about that very thing. Okay, well, what was your specific question about testing, just in case it was different from the email that I had received?
Okay, well, I
Your
spoke with
case
someone last night, and I noticed how you did it. You said that as of day
related,
one,
coronavirus related cases. Is that what you're referring to?
right? Yeah, you said as of day one there have been 30, or 3,092.
3,065.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and but yet Amy Wood keeps saying that there are, and so is Gordon Deal. They're saying there
I
are.
see what you mean. I understand. You're right. It's an important distinction.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
that's
so
not that's
yes,
not accurate.
I'll talk to the newsroom about that. That's very important. I think you're right. You know what? I'll send out an email to the newsroom. I can't guarantee everyone will get it because it's the weekend. What I'll do is I'll reiterate it on Monday again. Um, but it's a very important distinction. So you're right. As of day one, there's 3,065 cases today, but there aren't currently that many. I see what you mean.
Right.
I think what's happening is for sake of, for the sake of, I think we're basing that viewers would assume that's what we would mean because, for sake of brevity, but I see what you mean. There is a distinction, and it wouldn't take too many more words to say it. So what we can say is, usually what we're saying is the new cases today. So I believe there were 241 today, new cases, and that is current. But then we should probably use the wording. And now there's a total of 365 as of day one. When we go into North Carolina and South Carolina, we're also listing how many cases there are there. It would get a bit wordy for us to say continually as of day one in each of it. So if you find that we're not, it's because we believe after we say that we're making the assumption that people understand what we mean. But you're right. I mean, it's important, obviously, to be as accurate as possible. So I so appreciate you calling in with that. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am. I just think that it's scaring people.
Right.
They think there is currently 3,000 cases going on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
honestly, I think DHEC putting up the zip code thing was extremely irresponsible.
You do. Okay. And there's various thoughts on that. One of which is if you know that there's a number in your zip code, you might pay closer attention to, being careful yourself, when you're out.
Right.
So that's kind of why they want people to take it seriously. But I know what you mean. There's different schools of thought on it, and I certainly can understand. And I don't think DHEC's aim is to alarm people. I think it's actually to wake a lot of people up. You still have, in some cases, and I wouldn't say this happens as much in our state, but certainly in others, and actually down by the coast it can happen, where you have sort of the younger generations who are still kind of wanting to gather,
Right.
or at least as of last week, they were, at the beaches and things like that. So I think that's why they're trying to kind of hit home, hey, um, this is the case.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
no, I hear what you're saying, and I apologize if you do end up hearing it on our news again. It's really, I think probably because the producers who are writing this stuff probably assume that the viewers understand that that's the cumulative, but it wouldn't hurt for us to kind of hit that home a little bit more in our newscast. So I'm sure we'll try to make an effort to do that.
Okay. Well, I would appreciate that. I mean, it's not just I noticed it, but not everyone understands that, and I
Right.
think it's scaring people.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it seems scary to think that there are 3,000 people walking around right now that have it.
Yes, it certainly does. No, I know what you mean. And frankly, I was trying to look up the first date of testing, which I know was in March, and I believe South Carolina. Gosh, here, you know what? You make me curious. South Carolina first case of COVID-19. Let's see that, because it makes me wonder. South Carolina. Let's see. It's doing all the recent stuff. I'd probably have to dig in a little bit deeper. I can't recall when the first case was. Obviously, it was last month, and um, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But obviously, it would have been in because it's only April 10th right now. I believe it's been a little over a month that they've
Right.
done testing, and usually it'll take 2 weeks. I mean, all in all, it'll take 2 weeks to usually get through, and then they're not sure if you're still contagious even after. I mean, they think you're not, right? But they're still advising people even after the 2 weeks to wear masks because they're not totally sure how long the contagion lasts. Um, so so yes, it would probably be. I mean, unfortunately, if you look at that number 3,065, the most cases have come within the last 2 weeks. So unfortunately, if you do look at that number, the majority of that number is probably still battling the disease right now.
Right.
However, it's not the total number. And you're right, we need to make sure people are not, alarmed by it. But I
Right.
so appreciate you calling in because, like I said, our aim is to be the most accurate possible. So that is definitely a good point.
Well, you did a good job today at 5 o'clock. I appreciate the way you handled it. You said as of day one.
Well, thank you so much. I
And
appreciate you calling, and I'll definitely be speaking with producers about it. And like I said, if I don't catch all of them before the weekend, forgive us if you still hear us using that terminology. But I'll definitely, try to hit it home, with the ones that I do catch, and then starting next week for sure.
okay, well that would be great. I think that would work a lot better.
Well, thank
Um,
you, and I think you're right, and be more accurate.
right. Okay.
I
Well,
appreciate that. Will you take care, and thanks again for watching.
all right. Thank you so much.
You too.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye. And there you have it, folks. Um, the phone calls to the local news station that I have been making actually seem to have made a difference, at least with one anchor. One of the anchors here is Diane Lee, and that's who I just spoke with.